one sitting back, which Hawthorn's been so good, doesn't look like it's on the books at the moment. Might be a shootout as we'd like to see.
Bounce a little wobbly, and Roughhead stole it to Franklin. Left foot around the body. Getting back, Morris got a hand on it. Just didn't lift the kick enough.
In the corridor, long down the line was the only option he had.
Richie Vandenberg into the team for the Hawks. Smith, Taylor and Ellis on the bench with him. And the ball comes up the far away. And he has the shot. And he kicks the opener.
Well, they've been in for two, Dan. Two, I think, good uses on the way in. One finish was disappointing, but that second one on the turn was outstanding. And you're quite right. I mean, these sides are going to set up the way they're playing now with nobody back sort of making it difficult. Your usage going in has got to be spot on. They delivered twice to Harris at the bottom end. Hawthorn have two shots on goal. Been absolutely terrific.
Importantly, all their best players have got a little bit of the pull. Ackermanis, Cross, West, Murphy.
Throws it back to Roughhead. Was allowed. Skipper. He's done this a couple of times now. Over Ackermanis' head this time. Cooney gets back but can't trap Sewell. Nor can Ackermanis. And now Boyle and Roughhead on the move. And Franklin got there and took the mark.
It was a magnificent mark.
Gone in a number of times. But when I looked, if they had dropped, no one there with any speed to crumb it.
It's had an outstanding year. 60 goals, 45, Lance Franklin. And that's a miss to the near side. He's had more shots at goal than any other player in the competition, including Jonathan Brown. 2 games still to play. Jonathan Brown 10 goals in front of him and looks like winning the Coleman.
But anything could happen when Lance Franklin's in it. West, Cooney, over the top, Power, and now West again. Good movement, spearing pass, and Giansiracusa takes the mark and is within range again.
Western Bulldogs have started the way we thought they would have, David, just the run and carry, but more importantly, their ball use is lace out.
Has been twice as good as Hawthorn in terms of pressure and unpressured foot delivery. It's been twice as good.
And the long launch, Gilby, and they combine beautifully. Set play, and they've got 2 out of it.
This absolutely infuriates me across the competition every week. The designated kicker is standing off 10 metres in a better position. Everybody understands and knows it before the game. They would have talked about the what-ifs. Not a single person put any pressure on Gilby. He's been allowed a kick. Not an easy goal. It's a long and difficult kick, but he's the boy.
Well, it's just concentration in the end. As we see the handball to Gilby, we know he can kick the ball 55, 60 metres. You've just got to play 2 metres goal side. You've got to play the percentages on the dangerous designated kickers, and Lindsay Gilby is one of the best in the competition.
Play game 341 next week and maybe his last. The final's still on the agenda for the Dogs if they win this afternoon. From the ball up, Boyd tried to knock it out. Vandenberg, captain, back into the Hawks team, slips it to Franklin.
I really like this play.
So much space, Dan, between the ball up in the middle and the forward on the last line. So much space.
Left foot, starts at left, tries to bring it back, and he's kicked 2 behinds with his first 2 kicks at goal this afternoon. Rowan Smith.
Well, the Western Bulldogs
takes the mark.
The Bulldogs' hands at the moment are sensational. They have not missed a target yet.
Now Giansiracusa, who again is just outside 50. Darcy's in the goal square calling long. Short instead. Eagleton likes his chances from 52. Darcy's got 2 to beat, and he gets the free, beats them both.
Interesting play there from Trent Crowd. He nearly had Taylor, the ruckman, in the spot, so all he had to do was lay off and allow Darcy to initiate the contact. Then he could have come over the top of the spoils. We see the hands were all over him, so just a bit of lack of communication there between the 2 boys.
Yes, a lack of understanding, got a bad result. Crody, he's just say, should have got off and got over, let the other bloke push and shove, no doubt about it.
Well, Darcy could have given the free away, he had 2 to beat. He's conceded 37 frees this year, Luke Darcy, the 3rd worst in the AFL he is for giving frees away. Left foot kick is perfect. Magnificent start for the Dogs.
It certainly is, Dwayne. It's amazing for all youngsters watching that. Daniel Cross only had eyes for the ball. Fantastic.
Super effort.
Everett. He heads wide. Murphy's lurking and didn't hold it long enough, according to the umpire. It's still alive for the Dogs, though. Boyd tries to trap it. Needs a handball target. Eagleton was on, but he missed him. Smith, Eagleton, Cooney left it behind. Smith again. Cooney wraps him up. He dropped it. Bulldogs want ball, and they get it.
That was the first mistake from Cooney on the fumble, but it was great play because he made a mistake and thought, instead of putting my hands on my hip, I'll get after the ball, and created a tackle on Joel Smith, and he's got a resultant shot on goal. We just see Cooney here strip Joel Smith of the ball, so that was great football, Cooney.
Great defensive effort. After a very unlucky call on that mark, I reckon it was taken absolutely clean before it was punched out. That's a mark. It doesn't have to stay in the hands for a long time. It's just got to be caught clean.
This is a massive kick. We're about to tick into time on opening term, and this to make it 4-0 for the quarter so far, and it's there. Hawks are on the ropes early.
Well, they certainly are, Dwayne. It's
been dominated.
Well, they have.
A couple of their big name stars. Maybe just a couple of minutes there and then finish the quarter on the field. Campbell down to Mitchell, to Lewis, and now Young with the left. Franklin's on the move. He's got it, but he's 50 from goal, and he's got the yips early.
7 goals, so you sort of got your fingers crossed, Dwayne, that that's going to happen.
Well, he didn't have a possession in the last quarter last week against Port Adelaide, when Port stole that game from the Hawks, and he's missed again. Lance Franklin.
4 behinds. That really does hurt the scoreboard of the Hawthorn Football Club. Hawthorn are doing a very good job. Sorry, the Western Bulldogs are doing a very good job when Hawthorn are getting the ball. They're really manning the mark aggressively, and they're stopping the run from the young Hawks.
Mitchell long. Lewis used his body reasonably well. Now Franklin from the pocket. He might kick the impossible one from the angle. Hits the post. 4 behinds for Lance Franklin.
I think that might be 5, Dwayne.
5.
He's kicked the whole 5.
Which is amazing.
Amazing, it is.
He hasn't had a goal kicked on him yet, so you leave him on him.
So he's kicked all of Hawthorn's score. He kicked 6 goals when these two teams met earlier this year. 6 of Hawthorn's 13, and they lost that game. Williams.
Super kick.
Murphy. Now Cross. Sends a wobbler inside 50. Skipper makes a contest. That was impossible to mark, and he grabbed it like a vice.
Well, that was a magnificent passage of play from the Bulldogs, but Wade Skipper, take a bow, because he looked at the ball and thought, well, I've got to go here. The kick's meant for me. I'm looking around for Darcy, and all of a sudden, eyes on the ball. Campbell Brown also did a very good job to spoil, but just too high.
Too high for him.
Too much height.
Had a couple of weeks back here when Western Bullies played Skipper in the last quarter and they were struggling. Jumped up and took 2 terrific pack marks right on the goal line.
He's kicked 3 straight this year. To make Hawthorn pay. And the Dogs are looking solid.
Well, I've been
ignored. Franklin heads to Roughhead. Little push. And the umpire says a mark to Harris.
Could have been a pre-season game. Jared Roughhead will be having a shot on goal.
Johnson drops the mark. Turnover. Might be the break Hawthorn need. Their 200 gamer won't miss. Oh, he does. And Franklin's marked it. Takes them on. Runs in. And smothered. McDougall got there. Inspirational. And he's got 6 behinds.
That is just unbelievable football from the Western Bulldogs.
What a wonderful effort.
Oh, that's one of the best smothers you will ever see. We see Franklin here play on, sold the dummy, you put it down.
Oh,
just goes to show you are always in the game at some stage as a defender.
Thought he might have pulled the ball back and gone around the second bloke.
Just as a reminder that it doesn't matter how many games of football you see in a year, there's always a surprise around the corner. 5-3, plays 6 behinds, and Franklin's kicked all 6. Ackermanis.
Well, he's kicked a goal. 6 points. Adds up to a goal.
Short to Boyd. Not sure I counted that way, Danny, but
I like goal to Clarkson will be Dwayne.
I like your optimism. Mitchell, Lewis. Now Guerra. Sends it inside 50, and Roughhead. This is an important kick.
Well, it is.
Well, if you keep having shots, eventually you're going to kick a goal. So they're continually getting the ball in there. 14 inside 50s to 9.
Every Hawthorn fan holds their breath. Not bad off the boot. Hallelujah!
Dan, you're right. I mean, I think table disposals, if I look correctly,
Gilby's playing a loose player in the back line at the moment for the Bulldogs, so Hawthorn just need to be aware that he's going to be in the corridor, so under pressure.
And the best bloke at running and carrying the ball and using it, you want him covered somehow.
Cut off by Crawford. Couldn't take the mark. Knocks it back to Franklin. Shoots the handball out. Lewis this time. And he kicks the opener of the second term.
Have I got egg on my face? Was it Gilby who mucked that kick up on the way out?
Certainly was, David.
Well, leave him loose. Leave him loose. If he keeps kicking it back to Hawthorn like that, they're in with a chance.
But it was a great spoil from Shane Crawford. You see the spoil, just a little deft tap out there to Lance Franklin. That was magnificent play from the big fella from ground level.
Just
Lewis
gave it
had
off
the
him.
first snap,
Yep.
and then the second one kicked truly. Got a lot better purchase on the ball with his second shot on goal.
Two players that the Bulldogs had the choice of going head-to-head there this term. Everett flies, but can't bring the mark down. Sewell. That's the Bulldogs who haven't scored in the first 10 minutes of the second term. Sewell got it, gave it towards Vandenberg, but missed him. Eagleton. They might score here, the Dogs. Johnson. They've got plenty running for him. He shorts it. Murphy. Too far out to load up, although there's no one on the mark if he wants to go now.
He's Gilby.
And Gilby is a long kick. He's within range.
Again, playing the percentages on Gilby.
For the first Bulldogs score of the term. They led by 20 points at quarter time. Starts from the paint. And that is a magnificent kick off the boot.
Well, efficient football at its absolute best. 11 inside 50s, 9 shots on goal.
And Campbell Brown, speaking of outstanding seasons.
Doing a very good job at the moment, Campbell Brown, on Brad Johnson. He's starting to get a little bit frustrated, the Western Bulldogs skipper.
Trent Crowe to Sewell. And he gathers it half back. He's got Young, but it'll need to be a precise kick. It is. And he takes off. Thought about going for home. Goes to Roughhead in a one-on-one. Got the hands to it. Harris again superb. McDougall not so good. Hodge rolls it, bounces it, goals it.
It should be advantage.
Well, there's no stop in play. No, that's...
They normally pay advantage.
Well, you'd reckon it was right. It was continuous there. So I don't know that anybody else could have done anything different on the whistle, Dan. That'll be
probably in the
interesting
umpire's defence. Maybe he didn't see Hodge kick the goal. He's probably looking at the contest after the tackle there from Roughhead. It's the only thing that I can
no, that's
see.
right. You let him away out.
Nice of you to help them out, Danny.
He's an umpire's man and always has been.
You're allowed to stick up from now and again, Dwayne.
Oh, it's beautiful. Brought tears to my eyes. It did. Jared Roughhead from 20, and he converts, thankfully.
Really improved as a player as we use.
Mitchell.
Ellis has got nowhere to go up the ground here other than long down the line.
So he goes to the one-on-one, and Boyle beaten for it by McDougall. West. Ackerman is short. Can't half volley it. Campbell grabs it. Hodge. Back to Campbell. Handball okay to Mitchell. He made him go back to get it. And Mitchell was good enough to do it. Hodge will go all the way here. Sizes them up from 50. And he can kill you with the left.
Super play, super hands from Sammy Mitchell. They gave each other a high five, and Sammy Mitchell coming off the ground. But to Hodge in full flight, is there a better side in football than seeing that run through the middle of the ground? We just see the handball here from Campbell. Unfortunately, just offline a bit. Mitchell's hands from ground level. But have a look at the run and carry. Bang.
To recover that, I mean, it's the second effort by Mitchell to get back on the ball that wasn't delivered well, but no recovered. He had to hit the ball with his left over his shoulder, got Hodge on full stride. That's beautiful football at its best.
Well, if you keep having shots
for Vandenberg, beat 2, kept it alive to Ellis. 2 young guns. Everett steals it back from Ellis. Well played to Gilby.
Talk about decision making. Young Everett's decision making is super.
Skipper. Big decision coming up for him here. He hits his fellow ruckman Darcy with a precise pass.
Look, young Everett,
32 years of age, playing his second last game, unless they make the finals. His last will be here next Sunday against the Kangaroos. His left foot kick, superb. He's got 2.
Great play. Talk about
Nice forward line, boys before.
Skipper and Taylor. 45 plays 33. Ball flicked back, cross. Nice hands to Power. And now Gilby. Dumps it in the Ackermanis direction. He's got it. He knows where they are here. Loads up from 50. Brings it back and goals.
Fantastic goal.
That is as good as it gets from the superstar.
On the counter-attack, the Bulldogs, they are a very good team. Hawthorn's pressure, and unfortunately, if the forwards don't mark it or hold the ball in, invariably it ends up down the other end. If it gets in the hands of players like this.
Well, if they don't take it, Hawthorn, if they don't actually take possession of their 50, it's easy out. It was Gilby, and Gilby was done a little bit of defensive pressure and got a long ball in, which eventually got to Ackermanis.
What else the Clarkson and the coaching staff need to concentrate on with the boys, with their forwards, is, boys, okay, with the ball is going into 5 Bulldogs players there, so that's a win. All numbers back beyond the ball now.
So he thumps in a high hope. Big fly by Skipper, couldn't bring it down though. Morris.
He was up there, he got a ride.
Cooney. And now Everett. The crowd getting their breath back. Short kick, not good. Vandenberg, great commitment by Farron Ray. Slightly built to put his body on the line. Everett, dainty kick towards Boyd. Shoots it back past Ackermanis. Race on, Birchall Ackermanis. Franklin's come up to the flank. He's got a couple of options short. Vandenberg from the 50. Looks up, wants to go for home, sends it to the goal square. Harris got back, got a fist on it. Lewis the crumb, shrugs 2, sends it around the body and inspires them with a goal.
We needed that one because as good as Everett was before, David, I think he just flirted with it somewhat there.
Little dink kick that went nowhere, wasn't it? It looked like it was going to be perfect, but it didn't hit the target. Turnover and back, and Buddy was working up and hard. He released 3 or 4 outstanding handballs today, Buddy, on the turn and on the lift, which have hit good targets running forward. I reckon Vandenberg's kick was probably the right kick in the effort. I don't think he could have put it through with accuracy, and it's a terrific effort by Lewis to win it back and put it through.
You're right, because one thing a defender doesn't want is the forward to have an advantage, and kicking that ball about 10 metres out gives the forward a run and jump at the ball, so puts the defence under enormous pressure.
If he moves into the midfield, just trying to break that tag.
I have watched you clapper a couple of times, Smithy, when the Bulldogs have kicked a goal.
I try not to cheer too much, but
Morris finds Ackermanis.
Dangerous.
He pokes it, hoping for, but not quite successful for power. Sewell, Ellis, and now Hodge.
Well, both teams are making mistakes because of the fatigue factor.
Heads to Lewis, over the head to Dixon.
Except
And
the class I'm not going there,
No, I'm not going there either.
Dixon from 45. Important kick. Swings it back. Delightful.
He's a super kick. It's a great story also. Picked late in the draft.
Both teams with plenty to play for, and Campbell is in the ruck against Skipper. Second half is underway. Sewell, Campbell, little shove as he got the kick away. Sewell dives in, extracts it to Hodge, to Mitchell. Straight down the middle, lost it. Skipper tried to handle to Ray, hit Crawford instead. Back to Sewell. Kick smothered. McDougall, after the smother, tries to keep his feet, loses them. Crawford to Hodge. Inside 50 to Campbell. If he can get the shot away, sells the dummy. Franklin, golden opportunity. And there's a nugget from Lance.
Well, not often you see, can I go back one step, not often you see a big man like McDougall. He's put 2 of the best tackles on
level. From the ball up. Campbell, Skipper got a palm on it. West, Mitchell over the top of him. Still trying to shovel it out. Mitchell stole it back again. Tries to walk out of the pack. Ladson.
That's circuit play from Mitchell there.
Sewell still down behind play. Mitchell. Bateman. Crawford shoots it back to Hodge. Mitchell still down behind play. Inside 50 to Campbell, who can give the Hawks the lead.
They have been absolutely dominant centre clearances.
Sam Mitchell was carved up by Kane Corns last week. Corns had 38 possessions to Mitchell's 18. And he's turning that around this afternoon. And Campbell has the Hawks in front.
Centre clearances, David, just spot on 3 to the Western Bulldogs, 13 to Hawthorn. So you guess the ball, they're running straight at the hard ball now.
Gillum got on the end of Ladson's kick, gave it to Guerra. He heads to Crawford. Here's the little bit of leg there on Ray. Reined in, and now cross. Wobbles it towards Johnson. In fact, it was cut off by Tiller. It was meant for Johnson. He gets to Murphy. Now Cooney. Back inboard. West shoots it wide. Gian Siracusa. A little wider to Gilby. And maybe just beyond his range. Kick one earlier from outside 50. Takes on Bateman on the mark. Runs to the paint. Drop punt. Good. It's awesome. And the Dogs, with that magnificent goal for Gilby, back in front.
Well, that is super stuff. I mean, that's the modern day football. I mean, Gilby's probably one of the best kicks I've seen in my lifetime, 40-odd years in footy, but to have gone to the man on the mark to try and go round him on his right, to come back on his left, still on 50, not just probably just cross the line and whack it. I mean, really whack it with terrific technique and power to get the goal. Gee, worth coming just to see that.
Well, they're going to have to continue to...
Pokes it wide. Tough one for White. Gets there too late. Lewis takes the mark.
Again, good pressure on the ball carrier there. You've forced the Bulldogs to kick under pressure. Unfortunately, they haven't got that big, tall forward.
Birchall to Mitchell to Ladson to Franklin. He marks 48 from goal.
Turned immediately and curled in and played on. Didn't even turn once to have a look to see what's on.
That's what he has ahead of him. Left foot. Nice. Drifting. Not enough. Only behind to Lance Franklin, who's 9 goals. Hawthorn 3. Trent Crowe.
Too long in the tackle.
He'll play his 200th next week. Trent Crowe gives off to Mitchell. Heads toward Hodge. Fist on the ball by Power. And Roughhead. It's a free.
Yeah, Power interfered with Hodge, hand over the shoulder, and I think he's a bit lucky to get away with that. A couple of Sam Mitchell's distribution coming forward. The last 2 kicks haven't been great.
Luke Hodge. Massive opportunity here for the Hawks. 14 minutes gone in this third term. That's what the free's for.
Stiff.
It was a little bit stiff, but the beauty of that forward play from Luke Hodge, you see him turn the body. He protected the area where the ball was going to drop, so he gave Sam Power no opportunity whatsoever to get a piece of the football.
From directly in front. We extend the lead to 8 points. He kissed it sweetly. He's got 2.
That's great signs. Luke Hodge kicked 2 goals too. Jordan Lewis 2. So your midfielder.
James Bateman. Tucked up against the boundary line. Keeps it alive. Hodge. Sam Power's got him. He shrugged him with the leg strength. The 1-2 with Young. Hodge back inboard. Birchall. No targets to go to inside 50. Hodge kicks long and hopes. Franklin!
Take it down, Luke Hodge. Got a great passage of play, great mark.
Plays on end. Just kicks the goal.
Just over the fingernails there, Twain.
Hearts in mouths. Lance Franklin kicks his second.
We can't beat class. And Luke Hodge and Lance Franklin have it in spades. We see here shrugging the tackle. Handball inboard from Hodge, but the key to this play, he kept running. He wanted the ball in his hands and kicked it to a very dangerous spot. Forwards just love the ball to the fat side, about 15 metres out from goal. Puts any defence under massive pressure. And when you're as tall and as athletic as Lance Franklin, basically no chance.
Well, what about the play on, Dan? If you've been coach here, what do you reckon? It's just cleared the man on the mark, and he put his hand up and it...
Oh, 1 goal 6. I think he wants to play on, David.
Darcy in the ruck now. Campbell almost wins the takeaway. Cooney had it, lost it. Sewell raked in. Ellis. Mitchell. High bomb. Franklin lurking. Got it.
They don't get any smaller, these boys. And 1 of 2 things. So, boy, you got him for the day, and you need to work through it.
Rodney,
or make a change.
Rodney could have had him full stop. They could have taken him. They took Ryan Griffin instead in the draft, and Franklin went next pick to the Hawks. Pick 5. Griffin was pick 4. And it's across the face, and he's now kicked 2 goals, 7.
The Bulldogs, and Dwayne, the Bulldogs
Getting the ball this deep.
Harris. Boyd from halfbacks trying to build it up. Cross. Johnson. West. Cross. Fumble. Danger. The Hawks can smell blood here. Hodge inside 50. Dixon sweeps the handball wide to Young. Can shoot it or pass it to Lewis in the pocket. And a little nudge. And 50. Certain goal for Jordan Lewis.
It was frustration from Kearney. It was just frustration. Lewis had marked the ball, and there was a secondary action from Kearney. It was always going to be 50.
Lewis has 3, and the Dogs have some problems.
Well, the main problem is that Hawthorn are now kicking it accurate.
Well, and there's a deluge, and they've tried to get their run through the middle. West's hand pass was a shocker. Went behind, turnover, and it's going to be how far. Look, oh yeah, it's a touchdown.
Not happy with it, Parker?
No, I'm not happy.
Let's have another look here. Marks the ball.
Technically, it's on.
After looking at it in slow-mo. What's that?
Well, then it's 50.
It's got to be 50.
It's got to be 50. I mean, you can't have it both ways.
Darcy. Farron Ray. He's missed him.
They've missed some targets through the middle of the ground in this quarter, the Bullies.
Taylor, Birchall, Mitchell, Sewell, Gladson. Got a couple of options. Birchall, he likes his chances. Runs to 48 and nails it. And in the process, nails the Bulldogs to the wall.
We'll get it during the weeks.
They've had a poor year, the Bulldogs, but perhaps it's the poor season they had to have. A twist on the Paul Keating phrase, but it's been a tough year to swallow for Bulldog fans after last year's good performance where they made the finals and hammered Collingwood. Crawford shrugs the tackle with leg strength. Hodge to Dixon. Little nudge on the kick. Sends it to full forward, and Lewis again will line up for number 4.
Well, it's the Hodge and Lewis show since quarter time for the goal scoring.
I felt a bit sorry. Williams has been under a bit of pressure and he's been off the ground. He took a very bad whack, 20 minutes ago. It's been tough for him.
Well, Hodge and Lewis, a couple of Geelong Falcon boys, combining here well. He's got 4.
That's great going to the finals, knowing you've got a bit of a swing player, or 2 swing players now. Lewis tied because they're continually under a constant barrage where the Hawks defenders, they're having a field day at the moment.
Out wide. Williams, Skipper, back to Williams, back to Skipper. He's got the target inside 50. It's Jern Siracusa. So he'll hear the siren on the kick. If he plays on now, is in trouble. From the paint to keep them alive.
Beautiful kick.
Great kick.
That is a sensational kick. And they've got a pulse, the Bulldogs.
They desperately needed that goal just on 3/4 time to just give them a little bit of hope going to the game. But it was all the Hawks.
Compared with the effort by Cooney and Johnson a few seconds before, boy.
If there's any doubt that Campbell Brown would be in the mix for All-Australian, if the selectors are watching this game, I think the pencil will turn to ink.
Franklin tries to tap it on. Might go off the deck. It rolls through for a behind, but they've been untidy since quarter time, the Bulldogs, and right now.
Played on Cooney also. Cooney taken out of the midfield early. He's as tough as they come, Brad Sewell.
Takes him on and loses. White with the tackle, and it's holding the ball.
He called play on. The umpire didn't blow it.
All the players stopped. They thought it was holding the ball.
No, it wasn't.
They could have given the free kick by committee, the players. Mitchell hands it up to Birchall. Hodge with the left. You can stick a fork in the Western Bulldogs. They're cooked.
Look, they are Blaine, and again the midfielders, Hodge. Gee, what a magnificent kick. He knew the pressure was on. We see here, he did get the handball away, so it was play on the call there. But the goal from Hodge was a super goal, Parko. It was one thing to kick it, but the pressure was really bearing down. We see the handball here. He knew the pressure was coming, but just had the eyes on the ball and focused on kicking the ball
wide, and Dixon all the way back to half-back, gathers and gives to Brown.
It's an underrated year, Dwayne, at the key post. Trent Croad, super important to their setup. You have a look at their defence. Campbell Brown plays above his height. You see Birchall running the ball out. Probably the only big body in their defence, Trent Croad.
Franklin takes the mark, and he will line up from 45. Trent Croad will play his 200th game next week in that game we talked of against Sydney. 84 for the Hawks the first time before his 38 for Fremantle. And Lance Franklin might end up in the record books tonight. He's kicked 2 goals, 8.
They've been under massive pressure.
Skipper and Campbell. Robert Campbell's been good in the ruck. Gian Syracusa, Eagleton. Here's Robert Campbell again about to trap it, although he puts a little shepherd on cross. Allows the loose man, Lewis, Birchall, Sewell, Franklin to the pocket. He's on the move. Can't get there to take the mark to his own advantage. Silky skills to Hodge. Oh, Duck's out of trouble. Delightful.
What a super player, Luke Hodge. I love watching him play. 4 goals, 30 disposals.
In Franklin's defence, though, Dan, in Franklin's defence over all this, he's set up with 4, I think maybe 5 delightful slipped hand passes, all resulting directly in goals. So that's one thing he's done very well.
It's been a big improvement in his game. You see, he's had the 7 handballs, and you're right, Parko, most of those have been lace out, and that's a goal assist.
One thing I'd do if I'd Hawthorn now, I'd put Boyle on the ball.
A more controversial season this year than last. Smith shoots it all the way back. Gillum takes them on. Ellis has been steady, and he sends it wide to Lewis, who can run. Vandenberg peels off for him, and the captain might get it. It bounces kindly. Franklin calls back. It's in his direction. He's got the drop.
It's just a super kick from the skipper. Saw the ball with the elevation that it had.
Well, he could have kicked 10 this afternoon. And from 45, he lines up, and he's now kicked 2 goals, 10.
Well, I was joking about
Ben McGlynn dropped at the last minute. Richie Vandenberg brought in.
It's a great inclusion. Young McGlynn's had a terrific season. Obviously getting a little bit tired. Great to bring the skipper back in. You see Sam Mitchell come off the ground, Crawford on.
Roughhead flies. He wants a piece of the action.
Well, neither he or Boyle have actually contributed all that much. I mean, they haven't been well beaten by their opponents, but have just had reasonable access to the ball. This would be Roughhead's 3rd, I think, if he kicks this one, which would be a good afternoon's return. As I'm suggesting, Boyle needs some work to be done now.
Really grown in the last half of the year. Jared Roughhead was in the reserves, playing for the Box Hill Hawks in the VFL. And he's now got 3 goals straight for the afternoon. He's got Lewis short. He ignores that, goes all the way back. Mitchell. Croad. Mitchell again. Crawford on the wing can run. Boyle. Short pass, and Tim Boyle takes the mark. He's got Young on 50. Thought about playing on.
We'll get this to the top of the square.
Franklin's there.
And Hodge.
And Hodge. Good use of the body. All the hands. Take your pick. And he'll line up for number 5. Luke Hodge.
The key again, great marking from the forwards, but it's the...
Short to Dixon.
Just about to say the unselfishness of the Hawthorn ball carrier. To give the ball to someone in a better position is great team football. Alistair Clarkson would be tickled pink with the delivery into the forward line, assessing the options and giving it to the player in the best position.
Well, and to give it off to Dixon. This is his 200th reward. He just got free. Could have kicked a goal easily, Hodge, but now he's helping a teammate through his 200th to a remarkable game.
For his 2nd for the afternoon. Was never in doubt.
So all the players get around Dixon. That's a great sign. To win big games in finals football, you need all players, but not defeated.
And they are now
I think
defeated.
they've had both today, unfortunately.
Campbell and White from the ball up. Eagleton. Campbell stole it back. Wants Mitchell. Gets him, but was a little low. And Crawford. Smith sparkling. Lewis. Hodge on the left for number 5. You betcha.
What a game. What a start. 32 disposals, 5 goals. We've got to just reward because
Superb attributes, and hopefully that will be the job that's done.
Hodge has 5. Mitchell has had an outstanding afternoon. Bounced back from last week's performance. Smith shoots it wide. Young inside 6 minutes to full time. And he sends it long. Hodge is under it again. Dixon will be the flyer. Beautiful hands.
strong body. From Assumption College.
Didn't debut until 97 under the old Hawthorn tradition of making players wait.
Trying to take that discussion a little further when he was picked up at 77, a man that I think the Western Bulldogs...
Contested stakes. Hawthorn's midfield are tough, their back line steady, and their forward line love the high ball.
Campbell, copybook down to Crawford. Well, they're running rings around them at the moment. Smith, Franklin. Can he take the mark? He flies and spoils. Down to Boyle. Hodge, he's got 6.
I mean, that's it.
You found your crummer,
No, that's right. But let's go back in the centre bounds. I reckon if you ever, any team in the competition, if I was a coach now, I'd go and get this quarter of footy and I'd go to all the centre bounces and the clearances. They are absolutely sensational, Hawthorn, at working the ball out to get somebody free out of what should be. And it either means that Western Bulldogs have given up and are dreadful at it. And I don't think the aerial stuff's been the great difference. It's been what's been done at ground level. They have been superb.
Well, 23-7. That's a smacking in anyone's language. We'll be wrapped with Birchall's effort in that contest.
Lewis, Ellis. Read the traffic was coming, gave it back. And he sends it inside 50, and Boyle can't fly from behind McDougall.
Well, that's been the one positive from the Bulldogs, McDougall. His form's been super on Boyle today.
Birchall again got a hand in. Mitchell is feeding it wide. Gillum. And now Campbell Brown, and he pokes it to Young. And he runs on. Campbell Brown should get this. And he does. Turns 24 years old.
A record in history, which is good.
Well, they're second guessing themselves at the moment.
We can just about ink him into the All-Australian team, Campbell Brown. The All-Australian defender gets a goal.
Well, colleague Jared Healy would be listening to
He
this.
might come back shortly. Campbell Brown's got it. 2 minutes and counting. The Hawks will move into the top 4 with 1 round remaining. They play the Sydney Swans at the SCG next Sunday afternoon. Game you'll catch on Fox Sports. Wide to Franklin. Got a little push. Got a big push. And he'll take the free on 50. Tough kick from there, and if he has a shot and misses, it'll be 2 goals 11.
Interesting mindset on this one. Would you have a go or would you give it off? Given your record up to this point, you're going to try and make it better, or it'll be interesting.
Have a shot, get your mojo back. Left foot. Missed. 2 goals 11.
I'm telling you, he's in 2 minds. That's his problem.
So a long kick in. Campbell Brown gets there, front spot.
He's on fire.
Mark Eagleton.
He's got his own ball the last 10 minutes, Campbell Brown.
The ears are burning. We've been talking about him so much in this final term. Young, he might load up from 55. Heads long. Oh, it's pretty.
Party time.
Well, it's been, I think, an absolute demolition in the last quarter, Dan. I must admit you can get some goals in junk time. I thought Western Bulldogs might have come back. But they're in such a frame of mind after Well, probably after half-time, but after three-quarter time, coach got in and gave him a serve. I haven't seen any kind of response that suggests that those words landed on fertile soil.
The key things I've found.
Sewell, you'll hear an almighty roar coming up from the Hawthorn fans. It's been a big week for the Hawks. Beaten when they thought they had the 4 points last week in Launceston. They made sure of it this afternoon. They're back in the top four, and they're back in contention with a demolition of the Dogs. 22-19, 151 to the Bulldogs, 10-7, 67.
What a super win. 71 inside 50s to 38.